Hey ghouls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be another weekly reading vlog. I am in a pretty good mood. Tomorrow is the first official day of spring, but I woke up today and it definitely feels like spring. So I'm excited for another season. Spring is not my favorite season, but I'm really excited for just the winter to be over, the weather to be a little bit nicer, and just to enjoy a fresh brand new season. So we're starting a new weekly reading vlog. So technically the very first reading vlog of spring 2024, which is very exciting. And I'm gonna be quite honest, I am starting this reading vlog with zero reading plans. Normally I have either a book that I've carried over from last week's vlog or just a TBR of books that I know I want to get to. I have no idea. I have no idea what I want to get to. I have not started reading any books yet this week, so I do have quite a few library books that I probably should start getting to because I normally take my library trips on the weekends. So, you know, when it comes to this Saturday, I feel like a lot of these I might want to return or need to return. So I feel like it's always a safe bet to have a few library books on the list. So let's see what we're working with. Right now, I'm also concurrently filming a dogs choose my TBR video, and that I'm focusing on horror books. So all of these, some of them are kind of horror adjacent, but you know, I'm saving my horror reads for that vlog. So again, mostly fantasy. Some of these are a dark fantasy, maybe a gothic horror, or maybe the page count I just didn't think would be conducive to that video. So some potentials for this week. First of all, we have The Projections by S.E. Porter, and all of these actually are pretty new releases. I think they all came out in 2024. So this one I believe is a horror fantasy, dark fantasy, something about possessions and ghostly, underworldly sort of things. This is for fans of Jeff Vandermeer, I've heard, so who knows what we're getting with that. We also have another one that's kind of horror adjacent, that's also I think maybe historical a little bit, is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden. This is about a woman, I believe World War I or World War II, I forget which one, but our main character believes her brother is alive even though everyone else believes that he's dead in the trenches. So based on that, I think World War I. But this is a historical novel with a speculative kind of ghostly twist that I could read. And then we also have some romantasy. We've got Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabrana. This one just has an absolutely gorgeous cover, and I think it's our main character, she's a librarian, which is super cool, something I like reading in fiction. And then it's also fae as well. And then also we have A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle Jensen. My library got a very cool copy with the really neat sprayed edges, but this is Nordic inspired, I believe. So those are some of the books that I could get to this week. Again, who knows? Who knows? We'll see what happens with my Libby holds. And again, that other video, just because I'm having my dogs choose them, they have to be physical books that I have. So for that vlog, I have been reading physical books. So if I want to do an audiobook or an ebook or something, it's going to be in this vlog. But yeah, I'm just coming on and introducing the vlog. I have no idea what I'm going to read. It's really at this point in time just as much a mystery to me as it is to you watching this video. Actually, probably more of a mystery because I'm sure you've seen the thumbnail or maybe looked at the description bar and saw what books I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm going to get to work, figure out which books that I want to read this week, and then probably tomorrow I'm going to be quite honest with myself. Tonight I'll pick out a book and start reading it, and then tomorrow I will come on with another update and let y'all know what I'm planning on reading this week. Friends, happy first day of spring, happy Tuesday, happy middle of the reading vlog. I know I've already introduced this reading vlog, but it's a good day. I'm feeling good. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm super excited to read. Last night when I was trying to figure out what book to pick up next, I kind of did a very informal try a chapter of some of the books that I had checked out from the library, and all of a sudden I found myself several chapters into The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden, and this one I also have checked out from Libby at the moment. So this is going to be great for me to both read it physically and then read it via audiobook as well. So I'm 9 chapters into this one, and we are following events, these 2 siblings in the Great War, aka World War I. Our main character, Laura, is a field nurse who she did work on the front lines. She got an injury. She was discharged. She's back home now in Halifax, and she is trying to pick back the pieces of her life back together after her conflict in the war. The war's still ongoing, but she has to kind of heal from her traumas and also worry about her brother Freddie, who is still fighting in the war. At the start of this book, you see that she gets one of the worst things that you could get when it comes to wartime. She gets a box sent to her with all of her brother's personal belongings. She hasn't gotten the letter yet stating that he has died or was killed in action, but she gets this box and she pretty much realizes that that is what the assumption is. People start sending her condolences. Everyone thinks that Freddie is dead except for Laura. Laura feels like even though everything points to potentially Freddie being missing or killed in action, that he is still alive. And all of that is taking place in January of 1918. Now, we then flash backwards into November 1917, and we're following Freddie. He's in this very strange predicament that should have been life-ending, but we see him trying to fight his way out of this scenario that he's trapped in with a German soldier. So at this point in November, he's still alive, but in a very perilous situation. We're flipping back and forth between him fighting for his life and then January with his sister Laura believing that he is still alive despite everything to the contrary. So this is historical fiction. It also is going to have some speculative elements, which I really love. I think the spiritualist movement and the history behind that movement is such a cool thing to dive into, both in terms of nonfiction and fiction. So our main character, Laura, is staying with some spiritualists, some mediums, and she may or may not be receiving messages from the other side that is telling her that her brother is still alive. So historical with a speculative twist. I'm very much enjoying it so far. This is my first book by Katherine Arden, but she has written so many things. I think The Bear and the Nightingale, I think that series, I believe, I'm gonna feel foolish if that's not her, but I believe that's her. And then also she's written like Small Spaces, all of those middle grade horror novels. So I'm really excited to dive into this one. I think it really blends a lot of genres that I tend to love well. I love historical horror. I used to love historical fiction as a kid and read it a lot more than I do now. I've really been diving into, kind of towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, some historical horror as a way for me to kind of dive back into the historical fiction genre, because I just love speculative. I love speculative fiction more than contemporary. So adding some ghostly spiritualist elements to this World War I tale, I think is really gonna work for me. So I'm on chapter 9. That's only about 50 pages in this book, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So that's pretty much the reading update. Last night, me and my partner, like a lot of other people I'm sure, watched Quiet on Set, which is the Max documentary that goes into Nickelodeon and in particular Dan Schneider and all of that and the abuses that certain child stars had to deal with. It was a wild ride. We had seen some things about it. So we started the first 2 episodes, didn't realize that there were 4, but we had watched the 2 episodes and then we realized the second 2 episodes actually premiered at 9 p.m. our time last night. So we made dinner, did some other things, and then came right back to it to watch the second 2 episodes because we were talking about it. Both me and my partner were super big Nickelodeon kids. He was more Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. I was more Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, and just seeing clips that we distinctly remember, because we were the target audience for shows like Zoe 101, Victorious, iCarly. That was my bread and butter. I loved those shows. And we were talking about how we watched these shows as children and we remember specific scenes that we see in the documentary as adults. And as adults, it's jarring and disgusting, but as kids, you don't realize that it's anything wrong. It's tough. It's very tough. It was a hard watch. It was I it was edited really well. And I do think it's like important to have these conversations, and it's so good that we're switching the focus of these conversations to, oh, all of these child stars become train wrecks and they do all these bad things and they act out, because that's what fame does to you. It makes you jaded or whatever, when we can see a lot of times, like we saw in Britney Spears' autobiography that came out last year, and we're seeing it in documentaries like this, that really just all of Hollywood just continuously failed to protect these children from predators, from being harmed. So it was definitely a hard watch. It was a hard watch knowing that Nickelodeon, and I'm sure it focused on Nickelodeon, but I'm sure Disney Channel also, you know, I think we can assume some stuff went on there. Cartoon Network, I feel like they're mostly cartoon programming, so probably not as much for that. But just making content for kids, with hiring like people who should not have been around kids, and continuously hiring them and continuously protecting them, even when it came to them being charged guilty in a court of law. Other celebrities and other people in Hollywood writing letters of support for abusers to continue to remain and work with children. So appalling, shocking. I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm glad we've moved the cultural zeitgeist needle from, oh, they're a train wreck, they're like crazy, these teen stars used to be so normal and now they're train wrecks. I'm glad we're moving from that to, wow, we failed these kids. They were put in horrible situations that no children should be in, and we need to hold adults accountable. So wild ride. Again, I think I mentioned it, I'm actually not sure, but it's called Quiet on Set, and it's very dark. It's only 4 episodes. I feel like it could have been a whole lot more, because a lot of times it just touched the surface of a lot of what had been happening behind the scenes. But definitely a fascinating documentary. And I know not everyone has Max, so if you don't have Max or Discovery Plus, which if you're paying for Discovery Plus, go ahead and cancel that and get a Max subscription, because you can see all of Discovery Plus's catalog plus Max's catalog. But I have seen a lot of people on TikTok posting large sections, if not like continuously posting footage from it. So if you don't have Max or Discovery Plus, go on TikTok, search like Quiet on Set, and you'll be able to see a lot of these clips if that's interesting to you. So not a lot of reading got done last night because we were so invested in that docu-series, but we don't have the same, like, I think each episode was almost an hour, so we don't have the same like 4-hour commitment tonight. So I do plan on reading a whole lot more, but yeah. That's gonna be it for today's update. I do have to get back to work. Actually, I have to make myself some lunch because I keep forgetting to. I keep getting wrapped up in work, and I need to eat some lunch before it gets to be dinner time. So lunch and then work. And then tonight I'll read some more. I'll have some good reading updates for y'all tomorrow, and I will talk to y'all then. Hey, it's me recording live from the dog's sitting area corner. So that is why the furniture is covered in, oh thank you, will be a lot more dog hair. unusual. I mean, the whole apartment is, but this red couch, this is the boys' couch, so it's very hairy. But we are doing our favorite activity of just staring out the window and just surveying the neighborhood together. Kind of, the dogs are, and I was checking in on them, and this has good lighting, so I figured I'll keep an eye on them, talk about books at the same time. It's a win-win situation. It's Friday. I don't know if I've mentioned that or not yet. I'm about 60% of the way through this one, and I'm enjoying it. I don't really have too much to say about it. I feel like at this point it's pretty much what I was expecting in terms of a historical book that kind of deals with World War I and spiritualism movements. There are some speculative and ghostly elements. I don't think this is like a horror or like a scary book about ghosts by any means. It's more of a just, you know, there are some spiritual elements. It's not a scary book. It is a sad book. I have a feeling this is gonna pull on some heartstrings more, just because, you know, we're dealing with World War I, and with any war that's a large casualty event, we're exploring loss, and we're hoping these two siblings make it to each other, cross each other's paths again. It's gonna be a long and hard journey, but I'm enjoying this one. I just don't have too much to say about it. But I did notice on Instagram today that I completely forgot that it is the Trans Rights Readathon. So I might put a pin in the Warm Hands of Ghosts just for right now, because I do want to participate. I didn't make, like, I should have planned. This one always sneaks up on me. I say always, I think it started last year, but it really snuck up on me this year, so I don't have like a formal vlog for it or anything. We're just going to add it in with this vlog. I don't think that there are any prompts for this readathon other than read books by trans authors, anyone on that spectrum, like trans, non-binary, I believe. I'll have to double check. But a hopeful then that I could read, just based on my NetGalley shelf, is I have the new LaRocca, This Skin Was Once Mine, and Other Disturbances. That could be a really good read. I feel like, you know, 4 short stories, that would be easy to break up. Maybe read one, read a little bit of The Warm Hands of Ghosts, then get back to that one. So I think that'll be my first pick for that readathon. And then I'll have to just do a little bit more research and just make sure other books that I pick out this week, because I think it does run until next Friday. But the other books that I pick out in this vlog will try and focus on the authors and pick out books that work for the Trans Rights Readathon. So Instagram search is going to be my friend for that, and kind of dig through other people's TBRs and kind of see what I'm going to pick up. So that's really all I have. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I have to go try and figure out what I'm going to eat for lunch, because me and my partner really like scraped our pantry bare like this week. We just did not feel like going grocery shopping. So we've, you know, we made do. We created some meals. We put some things maybe that we normally wouldn't put together. So we got to go to the grocery store tonight though. So we're doing that. We're having Pizza Friday, of course, our new tradition, making homemade pizzas every single Friday. So we're going to the store for that and just a general grocery shop. But for right now, I have to figure out what I want to eat, what we have to eat for lunch. And then I'll probably get started. I'll probably put down The Warm Hands of Ghosts and pick up that LaRocca. So I'll update a little bit. I'm probably gonna be real honest, not tonight, but tomorrow morning with another reading update for y'all. Hey friends, happy Sunday. Long time no updates. I'm learning. I already knew. I'm not gonna say I'm learning. I already knew, but I always try anyway. Filming 2 vlogs concurrently is hard. It's why I normally try to do like weekly vlogs instead of doing themed vlogs, but you know, we're trying. So yeah, it's been a while since I've last updated. I don't think I've updated since like Friday morning, but this weekend, you know, there hasn't been a lot, to be quite honest, because Saturday, both days this weekend, my partner has had to work. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is with the nature of him still being a student and having like time sensitive sensitive research and experiments going on. He's pretty much had to work all day Saturday and now all day Sunday, so that's been frustrating. But I've also tried to work a little bit extra on Saturday and Sunday, so that way he's gonna try and take off maybe like Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, so hopefully we can have our own little weekend later on this week. At least that is the plan. So well, we did, you know, we had our pizza Friday. We watched Ghost Adventures, the season 9, so like we're going back in time. We watched the season 9 Transylvania special. It was 2 hours. Normally we watch a movie when we have pizza night, but that was basically a movie in its own right and just as entertaining. And then last night we didn't really do much. We kind of just like hung out just because we had been working all day. So we watched a very bad movie on Tubi. It was a Bigfoot movie and it was called Bigfoot, but looking up on Letterboxd, there are a ton of movies called Bigfoot. I think it was Bigfoot, The Lost Coast Tapes, something like that. We've watched several Bigfoot movies now and they've all been quite terrible, but they're fun. So we did that. It was a found footage Bigfoot movie. That's all you need to know. It was one where we could also just kind of like be on our phones or like chat and update each other about our days while we were watching it, while we were cooking and all of that. So yeah, nothing too exciting. So now it's Sunday. I'm still working. I'm taking a break from working to come on and give an update. My partner's still working. I am now 30% of the way through Eric LaRocca's This Skin Was Once Mine and Other Misfortunes. It's a series of 4 short stories. It does have some pretty extensive trigger warnings on the beginning, and for Eric LaRocca, you want to take a look over, you want to glance over the trigger warnings because they tend to write like a very disturbing body horror. If it's not like purely body horror, it's very body horror adjacent from everything that I've read by them. It's very gross, not in a bad way, but like, you know, in a good way, in a horror way, right? When I say gross, we know that's not necessarily a bad thing in the horror genre, but they tend to write very gross horror. So this is no different, and 30% of the way in, I'm not done with the first short story. I think I'm almost done with the first short story, the titular This Skin Was Once Mine. It's getting pretty dark. This one, not overtly yet. I have a feeling like the end is going to be like very slick and explosive and just, you know, what the heck did I just read? Because that's generally how Eric LaRocca short stories are, at least for me and my experience in reading them. But I'm reading the first one. It's good. This whole collection is only 288 pages, so I do think I should be able to finish this soon. Again, I'm reading this for the Trans Rights Readathon, although I would have read it anyway because I do have an ARC from NetGalley and I really enjoy this author. But this says that the whole collection is psychological horror that explores themes of family secrets, obsession, and the human desire to control and possess. Very intense, I'm sure. You know, I haven't gotten to necessarily that point yet in this collection, but just based off of like the author information at the start of this book, they're explaining like what headspace they were in when they were writing this and just the themes and the trigger warnings. I know it's gonna get brutal, so I am preparing myself for that. And then I was also really like searching through Instagram and Libby, trying to find other books that will work for this readathon that I can read this week. I do also have like a number of library books. I'll probably be inserting other books throughout this vlog that aren't like from trans or non-binary authors, but I'll let you know like which ones that I'm just reading because I have to return them to the library at the end of the week and which ones I'm reading for this readathon. So I will keep you updated on that. I do also have a lot of holds placed, so we'll see what I get to in terms of this week, in terms of books that will work for this readathon. I also have some works by Hailey Piper placed on holds. I think some other ones. There's a lot on my holds list right now, so that's why I'm scrolling through. Yeah, we've got some Hailey Piper, some Sarah Gailey. I'm in a horror mood, so I want to read horror, and it is great that I have so many options to choose from. Like those authors have placed holds on all of their books, and we'll see what comes in, if anything comes in this week. When I was looking at the lists, like I was like very like pleasantly surprised at authors that I have read from before and that I just don't have anything left from their backlist to read, like Cassandra Khaw. Cassandra Khaw is an author that I absolutely love their horror stuff, so recommend. I know this is gonna come out when the trans rights readathon is over, but Cassandra Khaw, no one is doing it like them. I feel like their work is just so unique. And even like the one that was kind of like a horror fantasy, something about salt that I'm forgetting. I enjoyed that one. I also enjoyed the Nothing But Blackened Teeth. Like, they just do so many fun things. And The Dead Take the A Train, also really good as well. So Cassandra Khaw, Rin Chupeco, A.M. Strickland, those are all authors that I've loved before. And I'm kind of caught up on their backlists, so those are great options if you're looking for authors. I do, and the Trans Rights Readathon also just posted like a nice infographic about other books to read, so I'll definitely be checking that out to try and find other books throughout this week to read for that readathon. So yeah, there are definitely so many great horror books to pick that would work for this readathon. I'm just limited to what my library has, and lots of them have holds, which is also great, that there's a high demand for them. So currently waiting. I'll let you know. I'll keep, oh my gosh, my dog is pushing my chair. So that means that it's time for me to stop talking into a camera and start talking and hanging out with them. So that is what I'm gonna do. Can you say hi to the vlog? Away. So yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with the dogs. They leave me no other choice. They're requesting my presence. So I will talk to y'all with another reading update tomorrow. Okay, so this week has definitely proven that I am not strong enough to film 2 vlogs at once, because holy update Batman, I have not updated this vlog in a hot minute. I have a lot of things to talk about. And of course, as I'm saying that, my camera battery is flashing even though I just charged it and it was on 40%. 40% should have gotten me through, what has it been, like 20 seconds of this clip? So we'll see how much I can get done in this little clip. But first of all, I finished In the Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden. I enjoyed it. What I don't enjoy is the glare that you can see from my computer, but that's just, it is what it is, because it's late. It's not that late. It's not that late. Last night I stayed up until like 3 reading a book for my Dogs Choose My TBR vlog because I was loving it so much. So right now it's 9:30. It's not that late, but yeah, that's why the lighting situation is what it is. But I enjoyed this. I don't have a lot to say about it. It was very well researched. The writing was beautiful. It was historical fiction with a touch of the paranormal, and it is very sad, as you could imagine a World War I book is. I think a lot of people are going to love this. I think people who loved Katherine Arden's writing style are going to love this, and I also think, you know, for people who maybe hadn't picked up like her middle grade or her fantasy, if they want more of like a historical fiction, I think they'll like this as well. This was very poignant. I feel like I can see this one on like a lot of literary lists or just even like crowd favorites lists. Like, I'm thinking I could definitely see this being like the book of the month, book of the year pick, or at least one of the finalists, if that kind of gives you the vibes of this book. But I'm glad I read it. It was sad, but I enjoyed my time reading it, and it was a good introduction to the author. Now, the second book that I ended up reading, This Skin Was Once Mine and Other Misfortunes by LaRocca, it was a gruesome time, much as I was expecting. This one does not come out until April 2nd, although I believe potentially this vlog comes out after. I don't know what time is. I don't know what my uploading schedule is, but This Skin Was Once Mine and Other Misfortunes, the titular story was my favorite in this story. There were 2 stories that I enjoyed, 2 that I didn't so much, but overall it was like short enough, and I just feel like this is like a good first LaRocca book. I think even though I just said I didn't love every single one of the short stories, I think this one has the most like well-balanced stories. I think it's one of their stronger, if not their strongest short story collection so far. So thank you NetGalley for letting me read that early. It worked for the trans rights readathon as well, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was very gross. It feels like reading LaRocca feels like when like the first like 5 seconds after you wake up from a nightmare. That's how it feels. That's how reading their fiction feels. So just now going into this one also like had a lot of themes of connection, and in particular like the first two especially, family connection and grieving the loss of a parent. So if that's a big trigger to you, I'd probably steer clear of this. As well, if you are squeamish, I would just stay away from this author. They tend to write some very icky, squicky things in terms of body horror. But if that sounds up your alley, I would go ahead and check this out when it comes out April 2nd. I always know when I pick up one of their books, I am going to be shocked and my jaw is going to be hanging open at one point, and this collection did not disappoint. Hi, I was right. My camera died on me last night. So my update clip cut off in the middle. I think I got to review everything and I was just gonna talk about what I was going to pick up next. So this is what I'm gonna pick up next. You know, I am in a horror mood. I'm not gonna lie. This is a romantasy. However, I know this library book, when it's come time for me to return it, I will have to get on a very large wait list to read it again. So this is one where it's kind of like now or never. So I am going to start this one. It's a romantasy. It's a Nordic inspired romantasy, which is pretty cool. And I love the sprayed edges. My library got the cool version with the sprayed edges. But this is about a shield maiden blessed by the gods who battles to unite a nation under a power-hungry king while fighting her growing desire for his fiery son in this Norse-inspired fantasy romance. So I'll be reading this physically, and also today I am going to be playing Switch, because when I tell you I have been just so obsessed with Paleo Pines. It is a dinosaur farming sim where you collect dinosaurs. What could be cooler than that? Obi is also obsessed with this game. I don't know. He likes the way that the dinosaurs move on screen. Right, Obi? Do you like the dinosaur game? Do you like Paleo Pines? Yeah, I don't know, he's some part sight hound because he like loves watching TV. Bruce could not be bothered. Bruce is over there watching the window. He's like kids these days, too much screen time. Obi likes judging me with that expression. And he also likes watching Paleo Pines. So we're gonna do that. Obi's gonna watch some Paleo Pines. I just think that's so funny. I've never had a dog that like loves TV before. He loves watching TV with us. And then we're gonna play some Switch, and we're going to read a good book. And that'll be today's agenda. Hey friends, happy Thursday. I have been sucked into the whole of Paleo Pines the past couple days, so I'm gonna be quite honest, I've been playing that more than I've been reading. It's truly like the perfect cozy game for me, and if you haven't heard of it, if you haven't played it, it is available on like Steam as well as Nintendo Switch, which is where I play it. But it's a cozy farming sim where you collect dinosaurs. So you're a farmer, you have your own little ranch, you're also kind of doing little missions here and there that are very low stakes, trading things with your neighbors to get other supplies, and then you befriend dinosaurs along the way, and they each do like little specific tasks to help you with your farm. And it's such a delightful game. If you are a dinosaur lover, if you're a cozy game lover, just try it out and thank me later, or maybe not thank me, because it has been such a time suck these past few days. I will say it is a game, like some cozy games like Animal Crossing for example, you can really, if you want to at the beginning, like speed through it and, you know, time skip and like play it like on a fast mode. This is a game where it's very like counterintuitive to do that. So the beginning is very slow, but if you stick with it, once you like learn all the mechanics, it's really fun. It's really fun, and you can befriend dinosaurs, and they come in all these cute little colors, and it's just the best. But it is a time suck, but I've been loving it. And I was planning on listening to audiobooks while I play it. I don't know if it's because I can't do this if I'm playing cozy games like Animal Crossing. I have listened to audiobooks in the past. However, I don't know if it's because this is a newer game to me, but I haven't been able to strike that balance where I can understand and listen to an audiobook and play that game, but I have been listening to podcasts. So this week I've definitely been listening to podcasts more, gaming a little bit more than normal, but I do have a reading update. I'm about 30% of the way through A Fate Inked in Blood, and I'm enjoying this. It's a Norse-inspired fantasy romance, and what I like about it is that it has such a good blend of the fantasy and the romance. It's a very harsh and bloody fantasy world, and you know, it's a struggle that I've been trying to find, because I think I could love fantasy romance, and there have been fantasy romance books that I've really enjoyed, but it just needs to strike like a really good balance for me between romance, and then also the fantasy world has to be like fully actualized. So while I do like the romance and the fantasy setting, I definitely want, like, this is taking place within like a very tumultuous time, and there's war on the horizon, and I like those stakes. I like those higher stakes. I feel like they also kind of make the romance a little more angsty, which I also like. Our main pairing here is allies to lovers, but I think the angst would also appeal to people who are looking for more of an enemies to lovers, because they are our main character Freya and her love interest Bjorn. They are on the same side, but they have very different ideas of what they want their role to be in this upcoming war, and they both have very different ideas of how they want to kind of set a path for themselves, whether that be what fate has destined for them or them choosing their own fate. A lot of those circumstances, they feel like they're very much at odds with each other, and they keep getting paired up, but you know, they are allies, they're not enemies, but they have that angst because of their specific roles within this upcoming war. So I'm really enjoying it. If you like Norse-inspired fantasy romance, I think Danielle Jensen, this is my first book of hers, but I think she strikes that balance really, really well. So this is my current physical book. I'm also wanting to pick up an audiobook. I think I have Summer Suns on my Libby account, because I want my audiobook to work for the trans rights of readathon. So potentially that. I think potentially I also might have like a Hailey Piper book coming to me soon. So I'd like to pick up one of those if I don't have access to either of those yet, because it has been a minute since I have checked Libby, because I've just been so invested in befriending dinosaurs and cozy gaming and also listening to podcasts. But I'm gonna check Libby, kind of see if I have those, and figure out an audiobook to read for the end of this week going into the weekend. That's pretty much all I have in terms of an update, and I'm going to be quite honest, I'm also going to play a lot of Paleo Pines this weekend as well. It's been so fun. I just befriended a Stegosaurus, so I've been, you know, running around all of Viridian Valley with my Stegosaurus, riding on Bluebell, my Stegosaurus. I'm looking to get an Ankylosaurus next. Again, you know, if any of this sounds intriguing to you, and the artwork is just so cute. So if you're in the mood for a cozy game, if you like dinosaurs, go check that out. That's the PSA for today. I'm still having fun reading. This is still a reading vlog, but my reading plans have kind of been taken over by playing Paleo Pines, and that's okay. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I'm gonna go get back to, I think, reading. We'll do some reading. I've already played for about an hour and a half today, so we'll take a little break from the cozy game, dive into this Nordic-inspired fantasy romance, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow with another reading update. Hey friends, happy Saturday. I finished my book. I had a really good time with it, and this is book 1 in a series, so I will be continuing on with the next book in the series when it comes out. I had a lot of fun with this one. I really enjoyed the world building, and I thought that the balance between the romance elements and then the fantasy and the war elements, they were balanced really well in here. We had lots of romantic tension between our two main characters, and then also lots of world building. We're exploring the world, we're learning the different dynamics of like the different peoples and groups in this world. So I really enjoyed it. If you enjoy, I would say even if you don't typically like romantasy and you're okay with having romantic scenes in your fantasy and you want a Norse inspired fantasy, I would check this out because I had a really good time reading this book, and I'm really intrigued to see where the rest of Freya's story goes. And then I did manage to get to the library, return some books, pick up some more books. I did a little bit of a B-roll library haul for y'all, but the book that I'm going to be picking up for this weekend, because we are continuing the Trans Rights Readathon just in an informal setting, and also because I have this book now from the library, but that is going to be a Hailey Piper. This is actually a title that I have not heard of from this author before. I've heard of some of Hailey Piper's other works. I haven't heard of this one, but this is the one that my library had physically, so I'm intrigued. It's blurbed by Rachel Harrison. It's a juicy horror tale you want to sink your teeth into before it sinks its teeth into you. It's called A Light Most Hateful. It's a horror about our main character. She lives in a small town. It's very boring, very mundane, until one day I think a storm comes, and the storm really sets our story going. It's not just any storm, there's like some otherworldly power, some other force of nature going alongside with this storm. Our main character looks like she has to, you know, survive this storm, find her best friend who has gone missing, and escape the fate of other residents that are enslaved by the storm's otherworldly powers. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. This one also is less than 300 pages. I think Hailey Piper's books are normally on the shorter side, so I think I can definitely get this done within the weekend. So that's going to be my reading plans. This actually came out October of last year, which is interesting because this is a new release, and I haven't heard anything about it. This is going to be my weekend read, and honestly I'm still on a big Paleofinds kick. I've been just really in like a gaming sort of mood, so I think one book is realistic for the rest of this weekend, but if I do finish it, I'll probably pick something else up, but I don't know. It is already Saturday, so we're gonna go with this book to continue on the Trans Rights Readathon, and yeah, I'm gonna go get to reading, and I will talk to y'all later with another reading update. Hey friends, happy Monday. This is gonna be the end of this week's reading vlog because although I did want to give some more updates, like I'm not done with my current read, I was editing this vlog and it is getting pretty long, as well as it is April 1st, so a brand new month feels like a good time to just put a pin into this vlog and go ahead and start another one. So quick reading update, and then we'll go ahead and close this vlog out. It's been a chaotic vlog. Definitely, I promise, next week's will be a weekly vlog and there'll be more consecutive updates, but you know, just filming the 2 vlogs in one got a little crazy for me, so I've learned my lesson, one vlog at a time. But for the reading update, I am currently about 70-80 pages into this book and I'm really enjoying it. A Light Most Hateful by Hailey Piper. This feels like very Twilight Zone-y almost. Our main character, Olivia, she's kind of an outcast in her small town. She is working at a drive-in movie theater. One summer night, you know, it's a dead-end job. It's a dead-end small town. She doesn't really have any friends other than her best friend, Sunflower. And, you know, the story starts, she is just working this normal, everyday, average, boring night shift until things start happening. A mysterious storm comes. There are some very creepy characters slash monsters that start appearing, and everyone in the town, with the exception of a very select few people, all turn into like zombies, kind of almost in like Stranger Things, the season where they're all like connected to one hive mind and they can like all talk to each other through their minds, like that. Something strange is going on in this town. So our main character Olivia has to survive the night, survive the storm, not get infected, and also try and figure out where her best friend Sunflower is and hopefully save her from whatever is going on, even though it starts to feel like perhaps Sunflower is a little bit more entangled in this than just being another townsperson. This is small town horror. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying like the paranormal aspects. From chapter 1, weird things start happening, so this is very easy to get into. It's very mysterious. We're nervous for our main character, Olivia. We're rooting for her through all of these terrifying things that are happening in her small town. So I'm enjoying this. I will definitely be keeping on reading it next week. So if you want my full thoughts, full review of when I finish this book, definitely check out my next week's reading vlog. But that is going to be it for this vlog. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give this video a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you participated in the trans rights readathon, or even if you didn't, what's your favorite book that's written by a trans or non-binary author? Bonus points if it's horror, because that's just my favorite genre. Subscribe to the channel for all of the bookish, horror, cozy gaming content. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!